Well, we're here again. We find ourselves in the same place once again. Um, our brother Morgan Freeman, the iconic actor, has been brought up on some allegations in the media, not in the actual courts, but in the media. Seems like Bill Cosby fever is catching on. You know, Bill Cosby fever is spreading like wildfire in America because now there are some people who are trying to exploit Morgan Freeman, saying that as an actor who's basically never been accused of anything like this, in my recollection, you know, existing in the Hollywood circles for so many years, um, there are people who are now saying that he made some very distasteful references and comments to them while in their presence. Now, I happen to believe that people who take advantage of their stardom or their popularity to make people feel less than human, I think those kind of people are like some of the worst human beings. But let's look at Morgan Freeman. I mean, he's had a pretty stellar career thus far, similar to Bill Cosby, you know. But the problem he has had for some time, I believe, he's been trying to exist in this racial ambiguity. You know, he's neither here nor there. He doesn't really want the issue of race to be approached from um, a discriminatory standpoint. You know, many people have made stereotypes about African people, and Morgan Freeman refuses to succumb to any of these categorizations by the press and by society. You know, if you had watched his 60 minutes commentary on Black History Month, you know, he basically said it's ridiculous because how can you relegate our history to just 1 month? I mean, if you consider it, that's very right and exact. I always wondered why they chose February. They chose the month with the fewest amount of days, and you know, for people with basically millennia of history, thousands and thousands of years, maybe 1 million years, maybe 2 million years. But we have a pretty extensive history going back beyond the Stone Age, you know, into what people call the prehistoric era. You know, but we have a pretty extensive history. So Morgan Freeman basically told the reporter on 60 Minutes that it's ridiculous that we should be given a month. And he went on to explain his view of race, in which he feels we don't need to highlight racial stereotypes or basically anything that is distinctively of one race or another, and try to actually put people in this category or in a box, like everybody from this race fits a certain profile or certain stereotype, you know. But one thing that racial ambiguity will get you is some charges in America, some legal charges. Anybody who tries to walk this tightrope saying that, you know what, racism doesn't exist, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to hear it, your days are numbered, because you need to take a stand at some point to state what you believe in. As you watch your people being massacred, you need to make a definitive statement, and don't just try to walk on the fence as a fence walker, because you'll find that you will have no support from either side of the divide. The divide exists. We need to acknowledge that, accept that the divide exists, but it wasn't caused by black people. We were the unwitting characters in this narrative, this slavery narrative, and this social degradation. You know, so I think ultimately we need to consider that this has been the case for many years in America, and Morgan Freeman is a victim of a trend that has been going on for the last few years. Any African descendant of any noteworthy character or having had many accomplishments or wealth, having a massive amount of wealth, they're trying with urgency to destroy their character and their credibility, you know. And so what it results in is a scarring of the minds of African people, because those who we looked up to, those who we could see ourselves in films and in music, they are now being scapegoated by the media. And this is a way of actually depressing our people even further. So this is an example of systematic racism. If I'll be honest about it, which I have been, Bill Cosby was also a victim of the systematic oppression of black people in America. Russell Simmons was a victim of systematic oppression in America. But in Bill Cosby's case, I think I made my point pretty clear. I think he's been trying to throw African people under the bus for many years and using humor to degrade us for many years. So I think nature came calling for him. He had to face the music and accept what was taking place, because after you alienate yourself from your own community, it's going to be hard for you to even seek to have any type of support from people who you have so carelessly and disrespectfully referred to for the world to see. Similarly, Kanye West is another one. He's been going through the gauntlet of the media circus because of his statements. And so Morgan Freeman just found himself, I guess, in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it pretty much shows that, even though Harvey Weinstein and what's his name, Emilio Estevez's son, I can't remember his name, but you can't go in Hollywood and do what Harvey Weinstein has done, because Harvey Weinstein or Stein was a known sexual predator in the Hollywood community for many years, and it just basically came to the front and was put on the front page of every periodical. It just came about that people would acknowledge things that Harvey Weinstein had been doing in Hollywood for many years, But as simple as Morgan Freeman making sexually suggestive comments to younger ladies, that's enough to get a public bashing from the press. Meanwhile, people who knowingly contracted diseases and passed it on to people, like Charlie Sheen, that's his name. Charlie Sheen has basically faded out of the media spotlight, even though he has been doing these wicked and evil and nasty deeds for many years. But now Morgan Freeman, just making comments alone, will get him lambasted by popular opinion. And I think it's just a duplicitous arrangement in America where black people, we can't even sneeze or cough without being repudiated. But white people have, in America, white people in the media have been given a pass for all of their improprieties and misdeeds. So I think it's a duplicitous situation. Sorry to see that this is one of the brothers I respected for many years put into this position, but hopefully he's exonerated. Hopefully he hasn't given the Bill Cosby treatment. But like I said, if it turns out that he actually assaulted anyone in any kind of way, let the chips fall where they may. But until this is proven, this is a brother who I think has a spotless record thus far, and I hope he comes out of it a little bit wiser, and he can change his lifestyle, try to settle down and get out of that type of atmosphere, because you can see that people are going to try and use any type of encounter they have with you to exploit you. So you got to be careful. We can't even operate the same way that other media personalities operate. You need to try and, stay in your lane, avoid contact with some of these piranhas out there, and try your best to, salvage what's left of your public appearance, But until next time, I'd just like to touch on this topic. Gotta head out in a bit, but y'all just be safe. Drop a comment, give me a like, comment, subscribe. One love.